Assalamu alaikum. Second year, today we are going to discuss with the histology of the excretory passages. Objective of today's slide is to describe the microscopic anatomy of excretory passages of the renal system. So in excretory passages, the urine that flows at the area cribrosa, then it passes through the minor calyces, then through the major calyces into the renal pelvis, and then passes through the ureter, where then it is stored into the urinary bladder, and then when there is a need, it is voided through the urethra. So histologically, all of the excretory passages have the same general structure except the urethra, and this general structure is they have the mucosa, which is formed by the epithelium and the lamina propria. Then outside the epithelium and lamina propria there is the muscularis, which consists of inner longitudinal and outer circular layer of the smooth muscle cells, and outer layer of is the either adventitia or serosa. Mucosa is formed by the transitional epithelial cells, and these transitional epithelial cells, they have the histologically this transitional epithelium consists of three layers: the basal layer, the intermediate cell layers, and the apical surface or surface cells, which are present at the surface cells. And these surface cells have typical dome shaped cells. Many of them are binucleated, and these cells have the plaque inside their apical cytoplasm. These plaques are the modified areas of the plasma membrane. At certain areas, this plasma membrane is thickened and it is infolded into the apical cytoplasm to form the fusiform vesicles or plaques in the undistended urinary bladder. And when there is a distension of the urinary bladder, this modified area of the cell membrane are again inserted into the cell membrane to flatten out, and they form the lining of this cell membrane of the apical part of these cells. So in histological section you can see these plaques over here. Next is the lamina propria. This is dense collagenous connective tissue containing all the cellular elements of the connective tissue. Transmission electron microscopic picture of the apical region of the transitional epithelial cells show invaginated fusiform vesicles. These are actually thickened cell membrane which is infolded in the form of the plaques or vesicles in undistended urinary bladder. So we will discuss histology of all of the excretory passages one by one. So first is the ureter. This ureter conducts urine from the kidney to the bladder, and it has the three tissue layers. The innermost layer is the tunica mucosa, which is lined by the transitional epithelium. 5 to 6 cellular layers of the transitional epithelial cells which rest on a basement membrane. This ureter has a star-shaped lumen, and outer to this transitional epithelium is the lamina propria, which contains nerves, blood vessels, lymphatics, etc. Outer to this transitional epithelium there is the next coat, which is called tunica muscularis. This tunica muscularis has inner and outer longitudinal and middle layer of the smooth muscle cells at the point where it enters into the urinary bladder. In the rest of the ureter, it has only two layers, which is inner one is longitudinal layer and outer one is the circular smooth muscle layers. Outer to this muscularis externa, there is the tunica serosa or adventitia. So in case of the ureter, this is the serosa because all of the ureter is covered by the peritoneum. So it is outermost covering is serosa. This is the histological diagram of the ureter at low magnification H&E staining section. This is the transitional epithelium, and then is the lamina propria, which is connective tissue. Then is the second layer muscularis, which is formed by the inner longitudinal and outer circularly arranged smooth muscle cell, and outer to this is the adventitia or serosa. This is the histology E stained section of the ureter in higher magnification. In this diagram diagram you can easily see the transitional epithelial cells, basal cells of transitional epithelial layer, intermediate cells of transitional epithelium, and apical or surface cells with their characteristics dome shaped appearance. In the lamina propria you can appreciate the presence of the blood vessels as well. So next is the histology of the urinary bladder. As I have described earlier, the same histological diagram, same histological features through all of the excretory passages. So it is formed by the mucosa. Mucosa is transitional epithelium, and underneath mucosa, underneath epithelium, there is the lamina propria. Then is the muscularis externa or muscularis, which is formed by the inner longitudinal and middle smooth and again outer longitudinal smooth muscle layer. But in case of the urinary bladder, all of these muscle layers are intermingled with each other, and outer to these muscle layer there is the serosa or adventitia. Next is the urethra. So in case of the female, the urethra is relatively short and it exists just anterior to vagina. Here you can appreciate this. This is the urinary bladder. This part is the uterus, and this is the urethra. It exists just anterior to the vagina. In case of the male, the urethra is longer and divided into three sections. So in diagram you can see this is urinary bladder. This part is the prostate, and part of the urethra passing through prostate is called prostatic urethra. Then it passes through the urogenital diaphragm, and here it is given the name of the membranous urethra. It is just 1 centimeter thick, and then it enters into the bulb of the penis, where it is formed called the spongy urethra or penile urethra. So in case of the female, histologically both male and female urethra start out as transitional epithelium but quickly become stratified squamous epithelium in case of the female. In this diagram you can appreciate this is the stratified squamous epithelium of the female urethra, and outside this is the lamina propria containing mucous epithelial glands, and then are the smooth muscle cells. Male urethra is more variable but ends up as the stratified squamous epithelium as well. So male urethra, the prostatic urethra is 3 to 4 centimeter. It is present in the substance of prostate and it is lined by the transitional epithelium. Then is the membranous urethra. The transitional epithelium ends over here and it is just 1 centimeter long. Transitional epithelium ends over here, and the epithelium here becomes either stratified, columnar or pseudostratified epithelium. Next to the membranous urethra is the penile urethra, which is about 15 centimeter long, and this penile urethra is lined by the pseudostratified epithelium, except at its end where it exits, it is lined by the stratified squamous epithelium. So these are the diagrams, histological section of the penile urethra. Again, this is penile urethra. You can see the this is the bulbospongiosis and corpus cavernosum, and the urethra present in the bulb of the penis, and it is lined by the pseudostratified epithelium. And these are the references of this slide: the histology text and atlas by Michael H. Ross. Until now the lecture is ended, and we will meet in the next lecture inshallah. Allah Hafiz.